I think athletics for dads, modern dads right now is a
Mm,
very sensitive subject. And I don't
mm,
think many people are talking about what we're seeing kind of on the baseball fields and the
mm,
sidelines of FNL. And, these dads just like egomaniacs trying to relive their like glory days or what they could never do through their kid and just screaming and taking all the fun out of it.
yeah.
And it's becoming a real problem. And I think it just speaks to the lack of adventure in dads. They're trying to live
Mm,
vicariously through their kids. I think now that I have two teenagers, my daughter's been teaching me this for a while, but that I need to be a student of them, just
mm,
enter into
mhm.
their interests. What makes Lindy excited? What makes Finn excited? What is he into? I enjoy the company and the laughter and like the stoke that he gets when I'm spending that time with him, you know?
What is up, my friends? Welcome to Fatherhood Field Notes podcast, where I interview truly incredible fathers, gaining wisdom from their stories for you and I to grow in our own craft. I'm your guide, Ned Shout, father to 5 kiddos, currently ages 13 to 20, and husband to my rad wife, Sarah, working on our 23rd year of marriage. So yes, I'm in the thick of it. I am in this with you, working daily to rebel against the low expectations for fathers and create a world where fathers know who they are as they show up for the families. You and I have the greatest opportunity to impact our world through the way we embrace our fatherhood role. The role of the father is to serve, guide, steward, protect, and of course, find joy and have fun in the messiness of it all. Today's guest is my friend, Zac Ernst. He is a husband, father, man after the heart of God, a waterman, fitness enthusiast, and a leader of men building tribes and community in pursuit of wholeness. Enjoy meeting my friend, Zac. All right, Zac, welcome to Fatherhood Field Notes. How you feeling today?
Feeling good, feeling grateful. Yeah, happy to be here, Ned.
You seem like the kind of guy who, when your eyes open in the morning and you're laying in bed, you're just sort of stoked or grateful for the day ahead. Would that be a true statement?
I, you know, Man, you might have a prophetic gift. Yeah, I do. I mean, it's usually when I wake up, I'm thinking about, the things that I get to do, and that's
Mm.
usually what jumps me out first thing. But yeah. I mean, I try to stay positive as much as I can because I mean, gratitude is where I have to
Yeah.
begin the day, and yeah, it's a healthy place to live for. So I do my best. Definitely have
Yeah,
my down days for
of
sure.
course. Okay, I've never said this before. I've never asked this before. Um, but when you wake up and you go to the bathroom, pee, brush your teeth, when you see yourself in the mirror for the first time, what is it that you do or think in the morning time?
I lately, I think I'm in different seasons
Mm,
of thoughts in the morning, but as of late, I'm actually racking my brain to think about uh, a dream that I may or
mm,
may not have had.
okay.
I've been really geeking out on dream interpretation and just kind of honoring that modality of the way God speaks to us. And so,
Hmm.
so that's actually one of my first thoughts is I'm really trying to train my mind to go into my dream life
Mm.
where God may have been speaking as I was sleeping. So yeah,
Dude, what
that's
a cool
probably
answer. Yeah, so I'm a big journaler. My dad taught me to journal, and I remember, I don't know what it was, but some study where if you wake up and you start to journal what your dreams are, then over time, like, they come to you more,
yeah.
because you're paying attention to that quicker than like the stress of the day maybe that pops in.
Hmm.
Um, in the process for you currently, and obviously anything that you're willing to share, is there anything that, because you've been noticing this for this season, is there anything that you've noticed that you sense God is revealing to you through the dreams? And I ask it more in the sense of that a dude listening to this would start to consider doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if I think about the dreams that I've really given time and attention to over the course of my adult life,
Mm,
I've really seen God guide me in my journey and kind of helping me make crucial decisions. Um,
Mm,
a lot of prayer points. I think a lot of things to um, recognize in my life. I mean, just I think 2 days ago I had a dream about um, a mountain lion that was swimming. We were kind of in a bay and there's a dock and we're swimming and my family was around and friends and this mountain lion came and it actually um, attacked me and tried to hold me, bring me underwater, and so this
mm,
whole thing. And so I was like, okay, Lord, what is this? And so, full transparency, I actually just started geeking out and vibe coding with a dream interpretation app. And so
okay.
it's been this remarkable way. I mean, AI is obviously insane at pattern recognition. And
Hmm.
that's all dreams are. It's
Yeah.
just a way to, there's symbols that God's used over since Genesis, and he's led his people in significant shifts in the world through a dream, through a man or a woman, and they're consistent patterns and themes that have come up. And so I've kind of been creating this app that's been really helpful to help decode and discern and decipher, but obviously bring the spirit into it and ask
Ah,
Jesus
it's
for
cool.
his direction. But yeah, I think there's a lot of like, I think just preparatory dreams in terms
Mm,
of things that may be coming against our family, or
mm.
exciting things just to be hopeful for. So yeah,
So I
I don't know
got
if that answered your
chills.
question or not,
No,
but
no, I got chills right now because I don't know if I've shared this on. I probably haven't shared this on the podcast, but let's preface what I'm going to say with dudes listening right now. I fully believe that God has put you in your leadership role, which really means you're there to love and serve the family. And if we go back to Old Testament and look at like King David, Moses, all these like dudes who were not perfect by
mhm,
any stretch, they would inquire of the Lord. Like that's something that's coming up for me a lot is like inquire for the Lord on
mhm,
behalf of your family. And we're making some big old changes at the Shout House. But I would say, as I've been inquiring of the Lord of some things in my home, uh, I'm going to be about 6 months ago, I had a dream and there was a dark spirit that was hiding under my stairs. And I was like searching for somebody to help me get rid of it. I was looking for my wife. Okay. In my dream, I was looking for my wife.
mm,
And I don't for all I know is like I left for a while and I came back and I couldn't find it. But ultimately it was my responsibility. There was nobody. So I was the one who had to get rid of it.
mm,
And so I woke up from that dream and really wrestled with it. And ultimately there was a decision that I was having to make in my house, which was really my call. It wasn't,
mm,
I couldn't have anybody else make it. It's like
mm,
my responsibility. So I did make that decision. And 6 months later, there is a different level of peace in my home because of a hard no I had to say in the house. And
wow,
dude, like, holy smokes, that's like exactly what you're talking about. And God revealed that to me in a
mm,
dream. And there's been a shift because I took action on it.
heck yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, dude, that's cool that God wants to speak to us in those ways.
And yeah, and you saw immediate fruit from being obedient, paying attention to where most of us, and myself included, for a long time, just would have a dream and be like, "Oh, it's a dream,
Doesn't mean
weird.
anything.
That
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything." But what's interesting about yours, just thinking about the spirit under the stairs. It's stairs are representative of elevation, of going up, and
Mm,
often when we go up and elevate in a dream, usually that is like in a spirit, like a spiritual elevation, like kind of
hmm.
getting closer to God, like this growth. And the spirit was under the stairs trying to prevent you from growing. And you
Mm,
said you peace was restored. There was a sense of peace that came
totally.
when you went after it. And that so you received the peace by, the thing not stopping you from elevating. So
Mm.
yeah, I
Dude,
don't know.
that's
That's
epic.
cool. Well
That's
done.
epic. Yeah, so cool. Okay, well, here we go. We're not starting with some softballs. But my first question I typically ask is how old do you find yourself today?
45.
How's 45 feel?
Better than I had thought, maybe at 35.
Mm,
I'm grateful for health. Yeah, I think there's yeah, we haven't talked about pursuit yet, but there's a lot of younger men that I get to meet with on the beach Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and there's and they're in their 20s something prime, super fit and fast. And so I love like having their energy around and being able to like compete in a way. And
Mhm.
so that it just, and knowing that I need to compete with those 20 somethings keeps me motivated to just stay healthy. And so in honesty, I'm grateful, grace of God that I have health. And I think
Totally.
it's something I've always, you know, I try to think about often, is to appreciate health, appreciate being pain free when you
Mm,
have it, because you don't think about it normally when you don't have pain. When you have pain, that's all you think about.
right.
So all to say, yeah, I'm grateful for 45. I appreciate it. I feel like the 40s is this like kind of liminal space of, you can kind of nod to the younger generation, and they'll
Mhm.
like, you have something to say, and then you still are in a place to, obviously always may never stop seeking wisdom and mentorship from above, but you also have a little life experience where, a generation or two above you, you can have a seat at the table as well. So
For
it's a fun season of life.
Yeah, yeah. I'm 43, so I'm like right in that zone with you, and I feel the same way, very much so. A couple other just like questions to build some context, and then I want to get back to pursuit. Um, how many years you been married?
22.
Yeah. When did you celebrate 22?
December 28th.
Okay, sick. We just celebrated July 10th, our 22nd wedding anniversary.
Ah,
So
cool.
we're
Congrats.
04, you're 03. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's it's
Amazing.
epic. How many
Heck yeah.
kiddos do you have, and what are
Two,
the age range?
yeah, 2 kids. Lindy is 16 and then Finn is 13. My wife
Love
is
it.
Amy. Yeah.
Love it. Okay. So two kiddos, 16 and 13, boy and a girl.
Mhm.
And then where do you guys do life? So you mentioned the
Seal
beach, but where do you do life?
Yeah, we live in Seal Beach, California. So Southern California. We're the top city of Orange County,
Hmm.
the most northern city. There's a river that divides us from LA County.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love it. Super cool area. We were part I went to Vanguard,
Oh, no
and
way.
then we were part of a church plant in Huntington Beach, but that was a long time ago. Um,
Awesome.
so yeah, I love the area. Okay, and then what is it that you do? I love and hate this question, so I'll tell you why I ask it. I feel like most men ask like, "What do you do for a living?" And it's more like I'm trying to size up. How do I feel next to you? Do I make more? Do I make less? Am I
Mm.
more important? Less important? But the question also I think is helpful that when you have a 16-year-old girl, doesn't matter if you're making $1 million and running a company with 1,000 employees, or you're managing a auto lot or whatever it could be.
Yeah.
So what is it that you do in the world to feed the family and provide value?
Yeah. I lead a company called ActivityPay. I'm a co-founder, and so that's in the payment space.
Okay.
So we help businesses collect funds quicker and easier, and try to eliminate pain from the collection process.
Hmm.
And so yeah, get to work with fun activity-based businesses, tours, experiences, sports. So that type of thing. That's a niche we've carved out over the past couple years. I've been in payments for almost 20 years. So it's been my world, but yeah, it's been an exciting one. It's been one that's given me the freedom to, be at all the games and the
Hmm.
shows and the school events, and, be able to participate in the kids' lives in meaningful ways. So, super grateful for it. It's been, yeah, something that's given us, yeah, our family a lot of freedom.
It's awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Freedom in having a business, I think, let's just talk about that for a moment. It's something that is, so I have my own business, which causes, there's a lot of work, but there's a lot of freedom in it.
Mhm.
Um, if there's a dad who right now is trading 40 hours for a paycheck, and it's not that it's bad, I don't want to give that, but somebody said something to me recently is like, having the freedom to be able to make the best decision for your family.
Mm.
And I'm not saying that, if I work at a corporation that I couldn't, transfer or quit or whatever. But like right now, so we've lived in Hawaii for 5 years, and we moved to Hawaii 5 years ago because my son needed help with his breathing. And this was the
Mm.
place I could give it to him. And then now we're at a major crossroads where I just told my kids on Saturday, which I was already going to share with you. Hey, we're leaving. We're moving to Boise, and we're leaving in a month. So like,
Wow.
one of my
Wow.
kids, my 16-year-old daughter is pissed.
Mm,
She's 17 now, but she's
mhm.
pissed at me,
Yeah.
which we'll talk about in a little bit. But talking about the effort to have a business, run a business, or other ways to be able to have freedom to up and make the best decision for your family. Like, what does that mean to you? What would you have guys thinking about? Yeah, whatever you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what you said about trading your time for dollars is something that I considered early on, and it was
Yeah.
something that I didn't want to do. And I know it's a
Mm.
luxury. I know it's a privilege to not do that, but there was a lot of intentionality and a lot of pain to get there.
Yes.
Um, so it takes time and a lot of work, but yeah, I mean, I think coming from it, I think you and I are similar in the design. Like even in college, my original path was firefighting. I wanted to be
Okay.
a firefighter because I did see that there is a lot of flexibility and margin in the
Mm.
schedule, that where you can spend time with the family and be free, but then you also might miss holidays, as my
Mhm.
uncle did. That was a firefighter. So, anyways, I think yeah, I think just to encourage guys is yeah, look at what do you want for your family
Mm.
first. What availability do you want, and prioritize that above, the dollar sign and the paycheck. Because I think that's where a lot of us men get really misaligned, is we sacrifice far too much in chasing and climbing that ladder.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think a lot of guys realize, much later in life, that they were the ladder was leaning against the wrong building the whole
Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
you know? So I think it's just that's where, our discernment, bringing Jesus into the question,
Mhm.
and your wife is amazing at helping you discern this kind of stuff. So she's been a huge champion for me, and just, encouraging to go after things. And I'm an opportunist, so I love
Mhm.
opportunity, and so
Yeah.
it's easy for me to say yes and wanna jump into cool things. But, she's been my rock that's helped, keep me grounded and, keep me centered on vision for what we're going after. And yeah, so I think to answer your question, for any guys out there that are considering maybe in that stage of life, it's really, um, what would serve your family best in this season? And maybe even
Yeah.
consider, like, make less now so that you can be with the kids, and then build a sweet business later in life.
Mhm.
Um, I was an independent contractor for most of my career, and just, at 42, we branched off to start our own business. So,
Mhm.
we
Yeah, so you made
it's
that leap recently.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, a couple things you said that I think, like, my bent's, owning a business, but you brought up some things like what's best for your family, what do you want for your family, bringing your
Mhm.
wife into that conversation, Jesus into that conversation. Is there margin? Because on either path, like if I go work for a company, I could have no margin for my family. If I go start my own company, I could have no
No
margin for my
margin.
family. And I think there is no
Mhm,
perfect scenario. There's always a
mhm,
trade-off. So are you thinking about the trade-offs? Like,
mhm,
like I just were recently made a big decision about a company I'm pursuing. And I sat down with my wife and I'm like, this is what it will look like. And are we okay with that? Can
mhm,
you hold me accountable to when I'm emotionally invested in this thing and it's Sunday with the family, that you're bringing me back to like the reality of, hey, that's not important till tomorrow morning, kind of thing. And it's work. We're like 90 days in and it's working. I'm taking more phone calls and emails than I would normally do during certain things, but it is
mhm.
what it is for a season.
Yeah.
You said something interesting. You said bringing my wife in, she's been a rock, for what we are going after. So is there a spoken vision for the family of what you are going after? Or is it more of an unspoken, just kind of like we've been on this path and we're collectively moving towards something, like a vision for our family?
Yeah, so I do have a fun acronym for the vision for our family,
Cool.
I put together a few years ago, but it's Grace Phi. So Grace. Um, Starts with generosity. R is respect/kindness. Um, A is adventure.
Hmm.
C is character. Um, E is excellence. And then the phi part, which stands for fidelity or faithfulness, is the F would be faith, and then the I is integrity. And so these values are near and dear to our family,
Hmm.
and something that we try to instill. I think with my 16-year-old, it's been that's definitely something more we need to that she needs to catch that, and
Hmm.
not we can't just teach her or say
Hmm.
it, so to speak. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah, the intentionality part of my parenting with my daughter is looks very different now than it did younger before. My
Hmm.
son, he has it memorized. 13, he eats it up. He's like all about it. And so yeah, that's just been an interesting nuance. But yeah, so I think what my kids really understood from me growing up, I think they would say is just the enjoying the adventure of life and
Hmm.
trying to enjoy as much as we can together, because I've recognized that how quickly this time goes. I mean,
Yeah.
all too well how fast. And so I've heard that, every man older than me told me that when we had babies, like, enjoy it. And man, it does. It's that. And so I think just trying to slow time down with them through adventure has been really
Hmm.
key and important for us. But those are the values that we want to live by as a family, and I love grace, the faithfulness of grace. Grace by
Hmm.
it all is grace, as Brennan Manning would say.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So adventure's clearly important to you. I mean, I watched your video, you paddleboarding from over to Catalina, pretty gnarly. For you, adventure, um, how do you as a man have the adventure where you're fulfilling your side of what you want in life while not sacrificing the family and also having adventure in them? So I could see two things. I think some guys just go pursue their stuff and they're doing their dreams
Mm,
without the family,
yeah.
or they've sacrificed doing something adventurous for themselves and only doing stuff with the family. It seems as though you've sort of balanced those two things well. How have you done that, and how would you encourage men to do the same?
Yeah. So something that we encourage the guys in pursuit to do is find a masogi.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've heard this term before, but
Mm-mm.
so it got famous from what's the book? Um, It'll come back to me. But anyways, it's basically a journalist that was not adventurous, didn't do hard things, and
Mm.
Comfort Crisis.
Okay. Oh,
Comfort
yeah, yeah,
Crisis,
yeah.
fantastic book. And so he talked about the misogi in Comfort Crisis, and he did some misogis, which and misogi is this ancient Japanese tradition of doing something very difficult, that you have actually a 50% chance of succeeding or not.
Okay.
So it doesn't really count if you do a ton of training and you're going to crush this thing. It's really stepping into something difficult for the purpose of doing hard things to grow from it. And I mean, as a business leader, the value of failure. I mean, it's probably the
Mm.
best teacher any of us can could
Mm.
could have.
Yeah.
So all to say, the misogi is something that I've set out to do a few of, and in each one, it's been very intentional in bringing my kids into it with me.
Mm.
So with the paddle, like you said, even I mean, obviously, I had to train to go to cross that channel.
Hmm.
And so I would literally drag my kid as I'm paddling behind me in the water,
Oh,
for
sick.
resistance. And so
Uh-huh.
we had so many awesome, fun conversations. And, you know, um, we did this surf trip via bikes and from Northern California down to Seal Beach
Yeah,
over
that looked
13
epic.
days. And the family came up and met us halfway. And it was such a relief to be able to have my family there after doing such a grueling, you know,
Mhm.
um, 25-hour ride through the night to get through Big Sur to get to Cambria at the time we were supposed to get there, and crossing the fallen road and all that stuff. But I think just for me, it's been something that is awoken my heart, and I feel if my
Mm,
heart's awoken, the kids will catch that. I feel like
mhm.
they've seen the joy of like the challenge and the struggle and the frustration and the pain, but then the joy on the other side of completing your misogi and achieving that and inviting them up into it so that they can then set out on their own misogis one day. But I think
Mm,
one of my biggest lessons that I'm trying to teach the kids is life is hard,
mm.
and all life wants, well, all kind of pop culture wants to teach them is that it's supposed to be easy and it's
Right.
supposed to be convenient. And if anything's hard, then it's wrong and
Mm,
you're broken if you're
right.
struggling. So I think the more that we can kind of initiate our kids into learning that life can be beautiful and terrible at the same time. And to hold that tension, I think is the making of a healthy adult.
Mm. Now that your son's 13, in what ways, or have you given thought to the next, say, I mean, obviously we want to be friends and relationship with our kids, into adulthood. But is there anything you feel as a dad that you want to do with your son or call him into in the next 5 years before he's 18 and kind of doing whatever is after this 18 mark? Have you given any thought to any kind of initiation things that you would like to do with him or have him do on his own?
Yeah, it's actually funny. I was listening to one of your Friday podcasts, and you plugged the Ion Path.
Mhm.
So Matt Hansen is a mentor friend of mine, and
Okay.
who started the Ion Path, and so we've talked about it as he was developing it, and he launched the thing basically right at my son's 13th birthday.
Oh,
Like
cool.
it started in March, and my son turned 13 in March. So it's
Mm,
a 3-year journey for those that don't know the Ion Path, but it's so that's been really fun because it's super intentional with, creating vision for your kid, for,
mhm.
what skills you want them to learn. And so I've been really excited about that. I looked at the Primal Path, and I love John Tyson. But I think this one is definitely more kind of in line with my relationship with my son,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
kind of his appetite for initiation and things. But I've been thinking a lot about that for a long time.
Yeah.
With raising a son for sure.
Yeah, it's like my kid turned 16, my son's 17 now. He turned 16 and it was weird. I had this like overwhelming sense of, oh, I have to really make sure this kid is I ready, for lack of a better word, to like be a husband, a father, run a business, or be able to steward. Okay, I was
Mm,
going to say the word provide, and I'm wrestling with that one right now, but be able
mm,
to steward whatever God gives him for the sake of his family.
mm,
That's probably a whole hour long conversation we could have. Um, so I homeschooled him last year and it went really, really well. And then I've been thinking about some sort of something for next summer in particular. And it's hard because with podcasts and with like relationships, you hear all these men doing all these different things. So it's hard not to think like, oh, I got to do this one and I got to do this one and we should do this crazy hike and whatever. Um, but for you being a waterman, is your son a waterman? Is he into the water or is not his thing?
Yeah, yeah, he's actually at junior lifeguards right now.
Oh, sick.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Okay. So with that in mind, do you foresee there being anything that you want to call? Have you been thinking about having him do anything that's hard, 50-50 chance of failure,
Mhm.
um, over the next, like in the next 5 years? Like, would you have him go paddle the channel, for his 18th birthday or something? Is there anything stirring in you right now for that? Or maybe not yet.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the misogi, the challenge is
Okay.
tough because it's something that is gonna be unique for him
Right.
and where he's at. I'm gonna call him up and encourage him. I got him into surfing really early
Mhm.
and a little too early, I think, and I think, taking a few waves in the head too soon has kind of
Mhm.
helped, made him take a step back in his surfing journey. But he's got great instincts and he can surf. Actually, we were just in Bali and I had a proud moment where we paddled out to this kind of famous spot, and the day it was a smaller day, so it was manageable for him. But he wanted to go, and we got him up, and he surfed, and he was stoked, and it was like a really proud moment because it's been a
Mm,
tension, right? It's been something I've been learning how to surrender. If surfing
yeah.
isn't his main thing, I need to be okay
Mhm.
with that, and,
Right.
but yeah, just to see him over. But my favorite thing in fathering, I think, is seeing my kids overcome fear.
Mhm.
Seeing them, see something in front of them and step through it despite the fear.
Mm,
Um, so that's been a really delicate balance because I think just, you know, my nature has been more like, okay, let's go. Like, and
yeah.
he's a very tender-hearted boy, and he's
Mhm.
his name. It's so interesting. I don't know if you've seen this in your kids, but how they're. I've seen our kids' names come to fruition in the meaning of their name. You're not,
Yes,
yeah, you
I
see.
think that we should be giving more consideration around names
Mm,
now that I'm on this end of it. Not that I would have changed my kids' names at all,
mm,
but I because I think it was, God's faithful enough, you know what I mean, to like, even though we named just out of a book or whatever, or like something that we were excited, we were excited about naming this.
yeah,
Um, but I think that I would recommend to people to like really consider what it is that the name means, because this you're calling your kid into this.
yeah,
So I think there's some intentionality for fathers. Man, that's a great thing that we should be telling other dads. Um, but anyways, to answer your question, yes, I do agree with that.
yeah, yeah. So we just see Finn's name means gentle warrior,
Hmm,
which is almost an oxymoron, but it's exactly him. He's this
that's cool.
fierce, like, tender boy. He's competitive, but he's super compassionate, and it's like, I mean, it reminds me of Jesus, to be honest,
That's
you know?
cool. All right, my friends, you've been hearing me talk about the Genesis program through Rise of Kings, and I am incredibly excited to invite you to it as well as be a part of it. Rise of Kings has helped thousands of men over the last 5 years discover the reality of their identity. And now they have launched the Genesis program, which is for young men ages 13 to 17. And here's the idea. You as a father would take your son to this 2-day event to start to initiate a conversation and an awareness around what it means to be a man. But the conversation would really be between you and your son. And then after the 2-day event, once we expose your sons to the 4 pillars, to what it means to be a man, then we work with you and your son. I'm actually the coach for the mastermind program. You got Mondo Davis, who does the 2-day event, incredible man, 11 children. He's currently working with his 16-year-old son. I'm working with my 16-year-old son. So you guys, this is fresh, this is real, this matters. So we want to invite you to the 2-day event with you and your son. Then after that, I'll be the coach for the 6-month mastermind, where I'm working with you every 2 weeks. And then I'm working with your sons every 2 weeks, with the idea that we're helping you to really step into what does it look like to help transition your son from a boy into a man. This is something you won't want to miss. It is worth the time, the resources, to really help your son see who he is young and early, so that he can love, lead, serve a family and the kingdom moving forward at a young age. Please go to riseupkings.com/FFN to register. You and your son would love to see you in the program.
So anyways, so I think just understanding kind of where our kids are at, how far I want to push them. And I think my hope is that as the kids see dad still enter into pushing himself later in life, that's still like finding the edge of what I can do and what's possible, that they'll want to keep pushing that edge for themselves and take risks and fail and get up again and do it. Because I think, you working with men for so long, that there's far too many of us give up way too early.
Oh, yes, and that's the thing constantly, I probably brought up 3 or 4 times on the podcast. I think sort of our Christian culture is, if it gets hard, then we like default to God's closing the door on this
Mm,
thing. And I'm like, dude, no, please. Not that that can't be true, but I would say more times than not, it's probably not true. It's probably an opportunity for you, even if it is failure, to
mhm.
learn from that. It still doesn't mean like, oh, I wasn't supposed to do this. Um, if it didn't work out, it's like, no, you absolutely are still on your path. That's great. You learn from this, but I think we quit way too early. because and as Christians, we're like, God's closed the door on this. I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know if that's true or not. I
Sometimes
think it
that
just got
closed door
hard.
is an invitation to be kicked right open, you know?
Yeah.
Like ask, seek, knock, like the petitioning widow. Like
Mm.
I think there's time and time
Mhm.
again that it's like, no, God wants us to lean in to like, show like commit, go for it. Like don't just like acquiesce to the first sign of pain or hardship
Right.
or like the widow got what she wanted because she kept after him.
Mhm.
She kept pestering the king and he's like, all right, fine, here. And she got it. So it's, yeah, ask, seek, knock. Those are three different things, you know?
I think that's important for people to realize, especially as a father, if you are leading your home, is the story you shared, and then also in the Old Testament, thinking about gosh, who was arguing with God over Sodom and Gomorrah? It was Abraham, I think, and it's like, God, would you save 50 people? Would you save 40 people? Would you save 30%, 30
Mm,
people? And I think that God is looking for us not to argue with him, but to care enough about our
mm,
brothers and sisters to argue with him,
yeah.
or like get into a wrestle with him over the sake of people. Like, I think at this point in my life right now, it's interesting. Like, I'm wrestling to some level of how much God's involved in our day in, day out. And it's funny because I really felt that way last week. And then, little side story, my daughter and I had a pretty heavy conversation on Saturday night. Some wrestling she was having about her faith, stuff that I couldn't go grab my Bible and convince her, like that just be
Mm.
like a stupid dad move. But I listened. I just listened. And then the next day we went to church, and bro, the pastor, guest speaker, our friend from Australia was like answering all our questions from the night before.
Mm,
So you're like, all
come
right, dude, I
on.
guess you're involved. You're involved. And I think it's less about is he involved, but am I doing my part here? Right. Like
Mm,
in Genesis 1 or 2, I love it. He's like, there was no garden because there was no man to keep it yet.
mm,
And it's like he designed this place for us to participate. And so I think he's looking for us men and women, but we're talking to men here, to participate in what we've been given, which is stewardship, going back to that. Um,
so good.
oh, okay. So, yes, the wrestle of the son and the calling him up. Just to touch on this for a second, I know surfing especially is like, uh, surfing is a unique subculture. But when your son is less interested in something that you're really interested in as a father, I do think that there's some wrestling with that. Um, anything you would point to, and or yeah, anything you would point to. And while you think about that for a second, I'll give a little example. I love to play acoustic guitar. I'm not good, but I love to play it. It's like a wind down for me at the end of the night, a few times a week. I tried and tried and tried for my son to do it, and just no, no, not interested, not interested. And it was like almost after I let go that randomly, I think he just got so bored one day that he picked up the guitar, and then he, ended up finding lessons on his own with a friend,
Mm,
and like he's into it now without me,
rad.
which can be a little annoying, but also like, what do I care, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but for you, is there anything you'd say to dads who may be wrestling with their kid, um, not being interested or not being the athlete that they would have liked or
Mm,
something like that?
mm. That's a huge one. I think athletics for dads, modern dads right now is a
Mm,
very sensitive subject. And I don't
mm,
think many people are talking about what we're seeing kind of on the baseball fields and the
mm,
sidelines of FNL and, these dads just like egomaniacs trying to relive their like glory days or what they could never do through their kid and just screaming and taking all the fun out of it.
yeah.
I think we have to have a lot more self-awareness to how we're showing up to games to cheer our kids
Mm,
on, and it's becoming a real problem. And I think it just speaks to the lack of adventure in dads.
mm,
They're trying to live
mm,
vicariously through their kids, and if their kids do well, then they think they're doing well, and it's just not fair to the kid. It takes all the fun out of it. But to speak to myself, or
mm,
I I've had to learn, and surfing's interesting. I've seen a lot of friends that have had a similar struggle with me where, they want their kids to be part of the surfing experience and just to have the joy that we get to enjoy in the water. And I'm learning. I think now that I have 2 teenagers, my daughter's been teaching me this for a while, but that I need to be a student of them
Mm,
now and just
mhm,
enter into
mhm.
their interests. What makes Lindy excited? What makes Finn excited? What is he into? And I've never been into video games, but Finn loves a couple of these games, and so I've sat down and learned how to play, and I don't personally enjoy the act of playing the video game,
Right.
but like I enjoy the company and the laughter and like the stoke that he gets when I'm spending that time with him, you know?
Mhm.
So those are some of the things that I've been learning and trying to do better at is just to, lay down my preferences for the activity, whatever it may be
Mm,
that I want my kid to do, and enter into whatever gets them excited. and
yeah.
and because that's really what. And at the end of the day, I think any of us are just looking for a connection and
Right.
that time with our kid. And so if we can humble ourselves to do something maybe we don't like to do but that they
Yep.
like to do. Like I'm the worst basketball player in the world. I'm awful. My son loves basketball, so we've been out in the street playing basketball all the time,
Mhm.
and it's great. It's humbling, but it's a real connection point.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 things come up for me. I think this is really important for dads to hear as you were sharing. You said, be a student of your kids, right? So be a student of them, and I think we'd go, well, I want my kid to be a student of me, and I would say yes, you want them to be a student of you, but from what you're shared, I would say not of what you do, so surfing, whatever, but who you are,
Yeah.
and you could
Yeah.
learn who somebody is whether you're playing basketball or you're playing football, right?
Hmm.
If you show up with a good attitude, right? If it's about you being really good at whatever it is that you're doing, kind of missing the point, right? Because you want your kids to know who you are. And this came back to me when you were talking about the egomaniac dad on the sideline. I think in a lot of things we do, we don't pause to ask ourselves, why do we do this in the first place?
Mm.
Why is my kid playing soccer? Or why are we surfing?
Hmm.
And I think sometimes we get caught up in the Instagram, the competitive, the whatever
Mm.
piece. When if you boil it down, you're like, wait a second, this is really about connection. And I think sometimes the way that we are showing up as dads, we could destroy the opportunity for connection
Hmm.
because we have an agenda, right? We have an agenda that we want to go surfing with my kid tomorrow morning, and we made it suck for them and for us when we could have played basketball when it was a little bit more convenient for them or they were available. And then that connection piece happened because it was less about what we were doing, but how we're doing whatever the thing is that we're doing. Um, and I think that would help us dads more if we paused and reflected on why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah. I think it just comes down to a heart question. It's
Yeah.
we enter into what our kids are doing. We're a student of our kids because we want to know their heart. And
Uh,
and we can only cultivate their heart if we know their heart. And
hmm
so I found that, by being a student of my kids, entering in their interests and not forcing them to my own has given me a space to speak where they
hmm
they will listen versus like, no, you're going to do this and that, and you're going to, l- enjoy the things I enjoy and do the things I do and be interested in the thing I'm interested in. That's not paying attention to their heart, and that's not stewarding a
hmm
heart. Um, I think we double down on values, like that's why we have Grace Fi. So these are core values that's central to biblically based foundations of being an awesome human that loves Jesus. Like that's what I preach. That's what I want to impart. But everything else, it's a matter of really getting to know them so that I can be a safe place for them to land when
Ah.
when
hmm
it's when it's hard, when they
hmm
screw up. And I'm not perfect at this any stretch. And my daughter reminds me every day. It's been one of the most humbling experiences is raising her and formational, um, too. Just I've yeah. So that's a whole other conversation. And I love, you have a few daughters, so I have a lot to learn from you too. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So I have a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old, and then my 17-year-old. And we have the deepest relationship, me and my 17-year-old. Like
Mm,
there's been times where I feel like she's been my best friend, good or bad, call it, and I'd say vice versa with our moves and this, and we're at a really unique spot right now, where she's very upset. She said "F you" to my face the other day. And
yeah.
I share that because sometimes it's like, okay, for example, we had pastors over at our house for dinner last night, and they don't live here. They live in a different place, and so I think it's easier for them to be themselves because, like, we ain't gonna see them on Sunday,
Mm,
ever. So it was interesting that I guess I would say vulnerability that I saw between them and
mm.
the dynamics of one of their kids, which was cool, right? It's whenever you see somebody's life a little miserable like yours, you're like, okay, cool, life is all right, like it's all right. Um, and so I share my daughter telling me to, F you and flipping me off about 10 times the last, I don't know, 5 days, I guess it is like,
True.
cool. I've been doing this podcast since 2019. Cool. I have a couple books on fatherhood. Fine, whatever. And this is real. And I
Hmm.
think so much of the time we're used to like perfection, like, oh, they've got it figured out, or oh, the
Yeah.
pastor doesn't have any marital issues, or whatever it might be.
Right.
So but I will tell you just, I don't know. I guess I don't need to get into more of it, but um, yeah,
Well, something
it's
I did want to ask
challenging.
though is
Yeah,
you
please.
said I'm curious about can you name the difference between your older daughters and then your 17-year-old daughter in terms of the connection and the relationship that you have? Was there something different that you maybe
Oh,
did, or what do you think cultivated that? Or is it more of a personality thing?
I think it's a personality thing. I mean, Brooklyn's my oldest. Her and I are incredibly tight in different ways. I mean, she's going to junior year at Boise State. We'll still do devotionals. We'll call and pray together. She's a go getter. She bought her
Mm.
first house about a month ago and
Ah.
moved in. She's like, the oldest child
Old
for
style
sure.
classic, yeah.
Yeah, and then my next one, Violet, I had to be very intentional with her in a different way because she does need a lot of space. She does need a lot of I I know the answer now that you asked me. Um so I have a great relationship with Violet. I mean, we've gone on a couple trips before for her senior year, her and I, me and her and her mom, and it was great. Beautiful connection. She's the one we sat and she opened up about how she was feeling Saturday night, and then Sunday, then she was super excited to tell me about it. Presley is most like my wife.
Mm.
Uh, Presley's most like my wife. Good and bad. And so there's this, and it's actually helped me understand my wife a lot more recently. Cause like if my
Mm.
wife told me to go F myself, I would get, dude, I just realized this since this happened, I'll get personally offended and have a chip on my shoulder for a few days and be upset. It's not if she said, like whatever. It doesn't have to, it does not so intense to say F you. It's not like that. But if she did anything to be mad at me, I would be taking a personal offense. With Presley, I won't. This is my little girl. She's just mad. It's
Mm.
all right. Like she'll get over it. So it's actually, I think, going to really improve this experience of feeling a similar tenderness
Mm.
to maybe a way my wife might show up to an experience because it's just who she is, not
Mm.
negative. So, anyways, that's why I'd say I'm close to Presley is for that reason.
That's beautiful. I love
Yeah,
it. And it probably helps
dude,
you understand her a little more being so similar to your wife, who you know better than anybody, so that's
for sure. And that's why I'm like, okay, she's putting up this wall defense mechanism, and she just needs me to not fix it right now and just let her be pissed for a few days, and that's
yeah.
okay. And this was the other thing I was going to say, just because I don't know if I'll ever talk about this again on a podcast, but I was really intentional when I told my kids we're moving that this was dad's decision, not mom and dad's decision, not God's decision, because I didn't want them to blame my wife and punish her
Mm.
for this happening. And I didn't want them to blame or punish God for this and
Wow.
tender that because I have the opportunity to carry the weight of this decision and work with my kids to help them see through it, whether it takes a month or 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
so
beautiful.
anyways,
Well done.
um, Yeah, isn't fatherhood so fun? Um, okay, for you, we've talked about a few things, and I really like how you came to you're concerned about the heart of your child. As a believer, in a world where it's kind of like, hey, what's your truth? Whatever you think, however you want to live. There's no foundation. And then the flip side of like, we're the Ernsts and we believe in God and we believe in it this way, very religious.
Mm,
How are you working to transfer your faith or faith in God from you to your kiddos?
mhm.
Like, h- how do you foresee that? How important is that to you?
I mean, yeah, it's everything that they have a relationship with Jesus.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a big question. It's a tender question right now
Hmm.
because my daughter is in a place of a really healthy place of discovering her faith for her
Yeah,
own.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's all I want for anybody that I tell Jesus to.
Hmm.
It's if if they just did it because dad did it, it has
Yeah,
no roots. There's no
yeah,
substance to that.
yeah.
So
It's hard.
we're gonna give them the foundation. I'm gonna, we've we have a couple of teaching pastors. One of it is a sage pastor named Bill Doctrum. He's a professor, and um, but he says, and it's sobering, but he says by the time your kid's 12, like
Hmm.
you're pretty much done laying that foundation. And it's hard to accept that, and you don't have to agree
Yeah.
with it, but it's one of those things that they do when they hit 13. There is this kind of, you do become your own person and you make your own
Mhm.
decisions. And I'm just hoping that they have seen the fruit of Jesus in my life and Amy's life, and he continues to show up. I mean, that's
Mhm.
that's the reality. Is I think it goes now from us like telling them to like revealing him
Mm.
to them
Yes.
through
Yes.
through hey, we prayed this and look what God did. Hey, we prayed for this and look how we stopped that. And that reality is undeniable for anybody. And
Yeah.
I think that's really the transition from childhood to adulthood. And this teenage thing, by the way, is a fabricated deal that we came up with the past few hundred years. I learned recently that it used to be you're a child, and then you leave the house and you're married and you start your own family. There's never this like liminal space that seems to get longer and longer from
Mhm.
this like
Mhm.
13 to 20 to 30 now. But
Right,
anyway,
right,
that's a
right.
whole other subject. But yeah,
Yeah.
all to say, I think that's really it. Is Amy and I have a fervent prayer life.
Mm.
Um, a lot of it is ourselves, just Jesus
Mhm.
and us as individuals, and then we get to see, and our kids get to see the fruit of that through answered prayers, and then our responsibility is basically just connecting the dots for them. Say, hey, by the way, do you know we were
Yeah.
praying this, and look what happened. Like letting them see how active he actually is. And this is
Yes.
another part of the dream deal is like,
Mm.
asking them about their dreams and trying to help them learn to decipher their dreams and in the ways that God and Jesus is speaking to them in their sleep. So yeah.
Dude, the word you used that so you're like 0 to 12 foundation, tell them, right? And as you basically tell them to build a foundation, like,
Hmm.
and that goes to like brush your teeth, make your bed, don't be a
Right.
moron, like
Exactly.
these things you're kind of shaping from 0 to 12.
Yeah.
But you use this word reveal, and I mean 13 plus, but you have some weird sense of they think you have more control from 13 to 18, which don't tell them they can really just do whatever they want. Just
Yeah.
don't let them know. Um,
You don't have
but
to let my daughter know.
yeah, I love the word reveal. And so,
Yeah.
and I think another thing parents, dads especially, need to wrestle with is this idea of protect versus guide. My wife's
Mm,
better at this than me. I'd be like, no cell phones, homeschool, no boys don't exist. Like I would be
yeah.
like a tyrant if it wasn't for my wife being like, nope,
Yeah.
they need to be able to fail safely in our
Yeah.
home with
Mm,
us to connect the dots, like you said.
mm.
one of the things that has become more important to me the last couple of years, and maybe it's my kids are, my youngest is 13, but 16 to 18, is I've been sharing more of my own personal mess ups,
Mm,
both in the past and in the present, as it's appropriate. But the revealing piece that you said,
mhm.
I feel like as dads, it's so important for us to reveal God, both in, like you said, connecting the dots, we're praying for you, but also like what's God doing in my own life and
Yeah.
has he done in the past in my own life, and revealing the reality of who he is. Because the thing is, and it's super sad, when your kid's 8 and you come home from work and they're like, you are God to me. You're amazing. I want to run to your arms. It's sad
Mm,
when they realize you're not as awesome as they thought you
right.
were,
Yeah.
right? At 13, 16, they're like, yeah, we've seen you.
Yeah.
We see you. But I think it's important because then what our ultimate job is to point them to the Father, right? Which
Mm,
was our original kind of question conversation, is like, how are we passing faith
yeah.
to our kiddos? And it's touchy. Like you said, this is a tender conversation. It really is,
Mm,
because it's hard to see your kid wrestle and fail, but it's worse to protect them from it all.
yeah. Dude, well said. That's
Man.
it. It's like, I mean, I'm sure you have a similar story, but we all had to come to a moment where it was like, whether you grew up in the church or not, that
Mhm.
Jesus was real. And you have to learn that
Hmm.
in your own way. And we all have our own
Yeah.
ways. And fortunately, he knows how to get our hearts. He knows how to get our attention. Um, and so I'm learning very slowly how to release more and more control to him, and
Uh,
and trusting that he actually loves my kids more than I do.
yeah,
And he
gnarly.
has even a better plan than I do. And
Mm,
the quicker I can get in line with that, I think the better I could sleep at night.
mm. Yeah, interesting. I think it's something we probably haven't talked enough, but like, Lord, what is your plan for my kid
Mm,
and how do I support them in that?
mhm,
Um, because that's such an opportunity you and I have to speak life into our kids, to call up the character traits, to see, hey, Finn, you are tender warrior, right? And
mhm,
for you to say it and for him to hear it from you is like one of our most important jobs.
mhm.
Um, Zach, I love your posture towards fatherhood, towards your wife, towards life. Clearly, it is something that it's everything, right? I sense it, right? It's everything for you to be the very best, for lack of a better word, father, husband, leader, son of God in your home. You have started this organization called Pursuit. And so what is it? Tell us what Pursuit is. And then, what is it that you see this in your own home, the importance, the value, and you want to go share that with other men to be able to do in their own home. So tell
Yeah,
us a little bit about this.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Um, Yeah, Pursuit really was birthed out of, just my own interests and
Hmm.
kind of, love of nature and being outdoors and working out with other people. But, the crux of it is our mission statement, if you will, is Pursuit exists to help men come fully alive, through the transformation of their mind, body, soul, and spirit.
Hmm.
And so we do this practically 3 days a week. We get up early and we meet. We have different chapters around the country, but guys will meet
So cool.
either in a gym, like Kyler in
Mm-hmm.
Idaho. We have a chapter in Florida, but yeah, and they meet either in beaches, parks, gyms, and it's a sacred time where guys
Mm.
start with breathing.
Hmm.
So I kind of geeked out on been geeking out on breath protocols and deep breathing and Wim Hof method if you're familiar.
Yeah.
But so I've taken those models and then I've incorporated um, these real meditative prayers into them and bring the spirit into the breath work. A couple of protocols we have, I just have like some of my most favorite scriptures that I read as guys
Mm.
are in their breath hold on the box breathing. Or so we start the morning with that, which is so
That's cool.
powerful. And then you have a stretch time, a dynamic stretch time where guys are connecting. And the point is community. I think that's
Hmm.
the problem I'm trying to solve is how to push back against this epidemic of loneliness in men that are literally killing men.
Hmm. Hmm.
If not early by suicide, too early because loneliness is the single most predictor of early death in
Hmm.
men. So it's a community where we encourage guys to get together to be physical and to play. So play is a huge value of ours as well. It's not just rogue workouts. It's usually playful workouts,
It's
communal
fun.
workouts that are fun. And Fridays we play ultimate frisbee, play volleyball. But it's just yeah, it's a place where guys can connect. And then at the end of it, after we're beat up, sweaty, and exhausted, we sit around in a circle for 15 minutes and we have a QOD, a question of the day.
Mm.
And it's just a question the leader will offer. And then, it's just a discussion point. And we just cut through the surface, shallow talk as quick as possible and go right for the heart and make the most of these 15 minutes. And it's been radical. It's just to see
That's
the
cool.
stories are just been we've been doing this for 11 years now.
Whoa.
And it's just been the most fun, fruitful thing to see men's marriages restored, walk with
Hmm.
men through divorce and remarriage and babies and loss of job, come to faith. I just wrote about this guy that he's been with us for 7 years,
That's what's
like
up.
like atheist, didn't know
Hmm.
Jesus, but he was there every day doing it. We close in prayer. It's conversations Jesus, but he's been in it. And
Hmm.
I even took him to lunch one day. I was like, Kevin, where are you at with Jesus? Like, I got to know. You've been coming for all these years. He's like, yeah, I've been wanting to talk to you about that. You actually talk about Jesus too much. He fully rebuked me for. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, I'll take that. It's probably my best fault. But
That's funny.
he just recently came. We were talking about who is Jesus, like what is the Father's love? What does the
Mm.
Father's love feel like? And just kind of dialogue on that was one of the questions, and so he came up and he asked more about it. He's like, what does it even mean to accept Jesus? And I was like, wow, really? And so I walked him through everything, and he was like, well, can we do it now? And this is in the
That's
parking
what's
lot after
up.
the workout, and I was like, yeah, of
Yeah.
course, bro. And so he just got baptized, and man, it's been radical. He's 63 years
Wow.
old,
Wow. That's incredible.
and just came to the Lord. And so stories like that is what just gets me. That's what gets me up in the morning
Yeah.
too. Like that's the stuff. But so my heart is really to try to replicate that experience for as many men as possible, and just
Hmm.
asking
Hmm.
guys to plant a flag. Let's we have an app that that curates the whole experience. You literally open it up. We have 90-day challenges with nutrition plan, and guys are
Hmm.
losing 50 pounds in 90 days and just coming out the other side feeling totally invigorated, becoming
Life
better
changing.
fathers,
Yeah.
husbands, life changing. It truly is a transformational experience because you just invite Jesus into it, mixed with some, and ask them to step into his disciplines, his spiritual
Hmm.
disciplines, physically and otherwise. And man, it's a game changer. So yeah,
So where can people learn about it? If they want to go find a group to be a part of, or if there's not one in their community to go start this. I mean, it's all so reasonable, right? This isn't like you got to go have thousands of dollars to go start a CrossFit gym. This is
yeah,
like get some homies together, go play outside.
that's right.
So where would they learn more about this and get involved?
Yeah. So yeah, joinpursuit.co is our
Cool.
website, or pursuit90.com goes the same place with the 90-day challenges.
Yep.
So that's probably the best place. Our app is Pursuit 90. You can find that on the App Store. Download that, and that'll take you through the journey. We have a whole coaching curriculum that will teach a guy that's never been in it how to facilitate,
Cool.
how to lead a group. Our mutual friend Kyler led a group
Hmm.
like cold turkey. He literally was Googling Christian men's workouts, and he found us. And
Yeah.
I think he's on his second 90 now already and
Hmm.
leading guys in Idaho. So, it really is plug and play. We'll support you. We'll train you, but it doesn't, I think the biggest thing to overcome is guys' lack of confidence that they can actually facilitate this and lead it. Um, I just want to, if anyone's interested at all, just let that go and just
Yeah.
trust that you have what it takes. it's not hard. You just be a friend, and double down on encouragement, and just love these guys, and you'll see so much fruit in men's lives around you. But yeah, the website and the app is the best place.
Yeah, I think that's really important to share. Like, dude, you don't have to be the dude with a six pack having
No.
this event. Frankly, if you're the dude who's kind of like average Joe, for lack of a better word, like you want to get into better shape, be healthier. I think too, because I've been in fitness for a bit, like we get stuck on like this Instagram thing. Like those
Mm,
guys are 24/7.
yeah,
That's what they're doing.
yeah,
This is to be healthy,
yeah.
not just, and some of those dudes who have the six pack and look incredible, they're not healthy. And I'm not talking physical, I'm talking spiritual,
Totally.
emotional. Somebody told me once, don't trust anybody with a six pack, which I think is funny, because they're running from something. They got too much time in the gym. But no, but I just encourage you guys. One of the things that Zac said that like really popped out to me is you talked about the time being sacred.
Mm,
And sacred is really like this what's carved out in your life for you to intentionally connect with yourself, with a brother, and with God. That's not most likely Sunday morning at church, and it's not against church, it's just that's most likely not fully that.
right.
So my question to you dudes is, if you look at your 7-day rhythm, is there any sacred time? And if there's not, then that really needs to be looked at more than, am I taking the right vitamins? Am I taking testosterone? Am I whatever you're looking into right now to be better? I would look at the sacred time you have set aside. And this would be a great answer to that, where you are answering some of those questions around mind, body, soul, and spirit. So check it out. Zac, thank you. I mean, it's super incredible. So I'm hoping to do some of this with Kyler when I get up there soon.
Thank you, Nick.
Dude, I feel like we could talk for another 3 hours. I really, really enjoy my time with you. You are
Me
a
too.
really special, incredible human being. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep pursuing all that God puts in front of you with really that tender, open approach. So blessings to you, your family. I look forward and hope that our paths cross again in the future. But thank you for joining me today on the podcast.
Thank you, Ned. What an honor. Appreciate it.
What an incredible conversation. Whenever I'm in a conversation where we're talking about breath work, I'm always reminded of an experience I had where truly it was a breathing exercise I did in a community of, like, there was a group of us together, and it was so impactful. I would love to spend more time doing that, thinking about it, experiencing it. So something just a reminder. And then the other thing is the dreams. Just it was really unique how that just kind of like came out right there at the beginning without any prompting. So it's something that has me continuing to think through how am I reflecting on my dreams, and how am I spending some time diving into what they could be telling me. All right, my friends, if these conversations are helpful, it would mean the world to me if you would write a review. The best compliment I can get is if you send a text to a friend saying, hey, you're a great dad, and here's a link to a podcast I think you would enjoy. We got to work together to spread the word that fatherhood matters. And of course, you can always email me, ned@rebellandcreate.com, if you got a question, a thought, idea. All right. Thank you for all you dads out there listening to Fatherhood Field Notes podcast. What you do matters. Don't be like everybody else. Be yourself. That's who your kids, spouse, and community needs. This is your guide, Ned Shout. Together, let's rebel against the view that fatherhood has little impact, and let's create lives engaged in mastering the craft of fatherhood. I look forward to hanging out with you next time.